Welcome, everyone. This is Arbitrage Trades seminar for August the 9th, 2020. I'll share my screen real quick. And we're going to dive right on in. First off, we have been making lots of changes to Atlas to try to improve it to make it better. In the last revision that we released about 2 weeks ago, we introduced trend lines and we introduced the option to show Z as well as show range. We've also been messing with our show top bot formula. So we are still playing with the show top bot formula, but we have also expanded upon the use of show range. In the new Atlas, if you remove and re-add your Atlas to your trading view, you'll see there is a new range band down there. And I'm gonna basically show you guys how to use that and basically make better use of that. The biggest thing that people usually have when playing the system is like, okay, knowing where it's going to turn around, knowing basically where your limits are. So basically the show range by default it's set to the 1 minute apocalypse band. So if I just turn on show range, it's not on by default. If I turn it on, it shows us that up there. It shows us basically where the range of the apocalypse band would end if we were using the range set to 1 minute and the apocalypse. So if I go to the 1 minute chart, set the band to apocalypse on the arbitrage indicator, notice it's lining up directly with that 1 minute chart. What that does is show us basically where we run out of probability and basically where it's most probable for us to get that turnaround in the very near future. So the range is basically set that way to allow us to see that on the 1 minute scale, but it also follows us. So we can go to the 5 minute and we still see that same range. Go to 15 minute hourly, it follows us wherever we are to let us know where the best time is to get back in if we're trying to catch the top or trying to catch the bottom. So basically seeing this allows us to better map and see where we're going in the very near future. Typically by the time I make it up to the daily time frame, however, it's really close and it's not really useful using the 1 minute data. So we have the ability to change it to 5 minute, 15 minute, or even 60 minute, depending on what we want to see. Typically I use the 15 minute, and basically I think the last version that I released had just a 15 minute and you couldn't change the band. So being able to change the band is also kind of awesome. The 15 minute on the daily also let us see where those turnarounds are, because basically when we're using the 15 minute as default, that's where most of our alerts are. If we're using the Slack environment, we can actually see where the edge is, where all our turnarounds are. So that way we can better adjust and basically play with the trend and play with the probability of the trend without basically having an emotion or any feeling about where we think it might be going. And for people who want to, say, for example, I know a lot of you guys play on the hourly chart, right? And if you're playing on the hourly chart, some of you guys like to play with the arbitrage band on the hourly chart, that's great, right? And say, for example, you're playing with this and you want to know what the arbitrage band on the 15-minute chart is doing, you can literally just go in here, change this guy to arbitrage, and basically see where your walls are on the hourly chart for the 15-minute and the hourly, so you know where your turnarounds are, right? So basically you see your tops, you see your bottoms, you see basically all the turnarounds and all of those points where it's going to turn around, and there are alerts that you can set basically if the candles go outside the range that you have it set for, right? Likewise, if you want to do this in the inverse of how we have it here, say, for example, I'm on the 15-minute chart and I want to know what's all my range and possibility on the hourly chart, I can literally just change this guy to 60 minutes and we're still set at arbitrage, and basically we have a bigger picture to get the absolute bottom, to find out where we can get absolutely on the 15-minute chart, where the absolute top is and where the absolute bottom is, using the arbitrage band from the hourly chart. These ranges are literally here to make sure that we don't miss money and we don't leave money on the table. All these ranges are there to keep us actively trading throughout the week and not leaving anything to opinion or guessing, right? Something else that we did, we added the 60-minute, because what was happening is on the daily time frame, and I'm going to set this guy back to, I think he is at the arbitrage band, but I want him further away at the apocalypse band so I can just get a little bit bigger feel, right? So I'm setting him back down to 15-minute, basically, so I can get that nice tighter range on this guy. But what was happening is on the 15-minute, if I went to the weekly time frame, it may have been too close, and it basically may be a bit too scattered for some. So we've allowed larger time frames, so we can actually bring it to the 60. Please mute your microphones if you are not muted. Okay. And what it allows us to do is basically we can stay at the 60, but we can actually even shrink our band. So that way we can say, okay, let's use the arbitrage band on the 60-minute to get closer. If that's too close, we can adjust the band accordingly, just to make sure that we are giving ourselves breathing room if we need breathing room for our trades, right? Trend lines have also been tightened up to take advantage of the ranges as well. So everything is starting to come together very, very nicely to let us see where all of our points of turnaround are, and basically so that way we don't miss anything and we don't leave anything on the table. This is international paper, but let me go to EURAUD and misspell it. Of course it did. EURAUD. And this is a weekly time frame, and we got those trend lines there to show us that was a top. And currently we are sitting on the edge. What range am I currently set at? I'm currently set at intermediate. Let me go back to my default, which is there to give me a little bit more room. So using the 60-minute apocalypse band on the weekly chart, it looks like we might get the deflection here. So I'm watching this guy really closely to see if we're going to continue on and be able to break above that black line on the weekly. I am not seeing it, but hey, anything is possible. So basically, we're seeing our limits and we're basically testing our limits every day. If it does make it past, we're not expecting much past 166, 167, but that's still a lot of money if you're looking for something to play. I've also wanted to teach you guys a couple of strategies why I was here. A lot of people, when they're playing with the system and they have the different alerts and they're like, okay, well, what are my best settings? How do I basically make the system work for me if I'm just out of the gate and I just want to play? I have several strategies that we've been introducing and been talking about, with everything from the scalping strategy to now these new range strategies, everything from the dollar signs and whatnot. I just want to make sure that when you're playing, you're not ignoring the basics, right? So like if it turns green, that's an obvious indication that you should be getting in. As long as the candles are yellow, you should be staying in. If you see the candle start to turn white, you might want to take profit, especially if you saw those dollar signs, especially if you see you're getting to the edge of a range. All these things are there to basically let you know when you've made enough money, because typically everyone has that fear of missing out. And with that fear of missing out, you usually overstay your welcome, like 3, 4, 5 candles that are white and not yellow. And if I'm supposed to be in an uptrend, usually is an indication that things aren't going so well for me right now, right? That doesn't mean that they've turned completely against me because the band is still green, but that definitely lets me know that the trend is not strong, right? So when playing with these guys, I want to make sure that you guys are getting the absolute best out of it. I try to make sure that it's always three that gets you in and three to get you up, right? So for example, if I'm going to get rid of control right here and basically show you what makes me get into a trade and what keeps me out of a trade and what's the most important. Like you have Atlas, you have the bands, and you have Z. The most important indicator on the screen is Z, bar none. It is the indicator that lets you know if you're in an uptrend or a downtrend, period, right? These are your odds. Basically, it's like looking at the casino, you're looking at the house, and the house is saying all of our probability is leaning towards an uptrend. So as soon as these guys are above that dotted green line, even if it's a weak uptrend, it's still an uptrend. Basically, you look for this guy first and then the background turning green and everything else before you even consider playing. So for example, if this guy is sitting in red, this guy went green, but he's sitting in red, this is not a good uptrend. He may be green, but this is not a good uptrend. Z basically rules when it comes to this type of trading. It is your odds. It is your probability of winning. And basically, as the probability trends towards a positive direction, that's when you actually get and make your money. If you see it in the red zone, do not enter it if it's sitting in the red zone and you're trying to play up. Wait for it to actually get back into the green, right? And so typically, if I am playing on the daily time frame, I'm going to tell you guys basically, I use the smallest band on the largest time frame. So basically, if I'm playing in here and I'm playing with Atlas and I have my band, I'm usually set at scalp because I'm just trying to forecast the very next 5 to 10 days. And that's what scalp is good for. It's good for the next 5 to 10 days on a daily chart, right? So if I'm seeing that basically he has turned green and he is sitting up here, the next 4 to 5 days, all I'm expecting to play is up. We can even have one bad day. And even one bad day, that candle still ended yellow. So that means for the week, if we started this, if this was a Monday and we started, we're still above where we started and we're still going up and we haven't touched our range. Basically, he may have bounced a little bit, but overall, we were still going up, right? Anytime I see this guy go into the red, I'm out. I'm done. Literally, if on the daily time frame, I see these guys dip in the red, I'm done playing up until they change their mind. And this is just for quick wins. So like, for example, if you're doing your job and basically you can set alerts for when this event happens, by the way. Inside of the indicators, inside of Atlas, I made sure I set it where you can say, okay, everything that's going on with Z, tell me when a buy trend starts. I mean, if he went green, or tell me when he went red. I need to know. I don't want to be the last to know. So basically, you can set these alerts to basically let you know when the odds or when the house says we're supposed to be going up or we're supposed to be going down. I want you guys to have as little opinion as possible about this when trading, so that way you're always following the trade as opposed to trying to predict what's going to happen. So if it tells me it's changing direction, let me know. If it tells me a Z sell window has opened or closed, let me know. So just to be clear on this, the difference between these guys and the regular open and the regular sell window and the regular buy window is that it's actually using the composite of that purple line. So basically in Arbitrage Z indicator, you have all of the bands and then you have this composite, which is called Z. So if Z itself says all of our probability, all the bands say we are actually pointing up, guess what? If I'm playing down, I'm just hurting myself, right? So basically, we try to make it where you have the ability to even respond to if everything is telling you you should be out, you have the ability to alert on that, right? Also, inside here in the alerts, we added a little bit more as well. We're still working on the tops and bottoms indicators. So basically, we found a few snags in it this past week, but we're working to get through that. I was working on two to three versions at one time and didn't realize I had overwritten some code I had already done. It happens. But I will have something out hopefully within the next couple of days that should fix that and actually give us the alerts on those yellow tops and bottoms. All right. Also, what used to be the relative highs and relative lows are now we actually have the ability to do the higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, and lower lows. Yeah, those are there too. I have to remember what these two guys are. Without looking at it, I don't remember what these are, but I'll go back and see what those are. And more than likely, that's probably it going outside the range, if I'm remembering correctly. So probable buy, probable sell, those are more than likely where you go outside of the range, and it's supposed to be turning around. So basically, ran out of probability. That is my best guess, and that's probably what it is. It's been a minute since I've touched this particular version of the code. We also have strong buy trend and stronger buy trend. So basically, we have the ability, because basically I'm trying to make it as decisive for you as possible. The stronger buy trend and a strong buy trend and a stronger buy trend, basically, this is basically a strong buy trend. This is a stronger buy trend. So basically, it's going from here into the lighter green, which means your probability is increasing. You have a higher probability of it going and continuing up. If it ever dips back down, it basically tells you it's gotten weaker. It goes from stronger to weaker and weaker to stronger. And same thing for the cells. It goes from stronger to weaker and weaker to stronger cells as well. As you have the ability all the way along the path, everywhere along here, to get alerts depending on what alerts you want and how conservative or aggressive you want to be in the trade. I'm doing my best to make sure that you have enough to make your decisions on how you trade. I know my personal settings are, I'm usually using my scalp settings on the 5-minute chart. And if I'm on the 5-minute chart, I'm usually scalping with everything set to my scalp settings, which usually that means I'm set at compass. On my arbitrage band, on my atlas, I'm usually set at scalp. I don't usually have show Z on. I don't usually have those trend lines on, but I do usually have my 1-minute range set to apocalypse now. So that's the only thing I've changed in my scalp formula, basically to let me know. I'm going to reset this chart real quick so I can see where, if I'm scalping, should I be scalping up or should I be scalping down? And basically, it's showing me what's happening on my 1-minute chart, so I know basically I don't keep trying to buy stop in if it basically just hit the top of the range on the 1-minute chart and tell me that I should be drifting down some. So that is typically, or the only thing I've changed in my scalp formula. I don't usually have on show deviations, but everything else is exactly the same. So I'm going to shrink that guy back down, and typically I have scalp turned on my Z indicator. So that way I can see what's going on just with probability-wise. So basically we saw when he went into the red, we should have been able to start playing down right there. And I do sell stops and whatnot to basically keep going down. So if I'm doing a sell here, quite literally after the red dollar sign, I put a line in the sand, and if it trips under, guess what? That's when I start playing. So I probably have been tripped in to this down, and we'll see where it goes. Maybe it'll continue down, maybe it'll go back up. If I am playing this close to the fire, I have recently changed my opinion on basically where I'm setting my sell stops. So basically, I have been setting just like I set buy stops and sell stops again. So let me go in paper trading real quick and show you what I mean. So because they don't stop you from doing this, I do this. Create new order. So say, for example, I wanted to play this guy going up. I'm going to set him, I am not biased as to which way I think it's going to go, right? I will set a buy stop 60 above, and I will set a sell stop 60 below. In doing this, basically, I don't care which way it goes as long as it goes. So basically, if it goes up and it trips here, I'm sitting on the 5-minute chart, it gets me in and we start going up. If it goes down and comes out here and basically this guy keeps falling and we're basically in profit, all I do is move my buy stop down and basically this will actually get me out of the trade after the first one triggers. Basically, it becomes a stop loss because the units are exactly the same size, so that way I don't have to babysit. Does that make sense to everyone? So I don't cancel it out. I keep it there and basically move it down as I go in profit to basically make sure that I keep my profit as I'm going down. And if it triggers the other way, it basically is like, okay, we triggered the other way. Don't be foolish. Let's play the direction it's going, right? By doing that, basically, it makes me completely neutral in the way that I'm playing. So that way, no matter which way it's going, as long as I'm not in the trade already and I don't have any stacks, I'm able to monopolize on the trading and win regardless of which way it goes. And that has basically helped improve my ability to take as much money as I want from the market on a weekly basis by about 20 to 30%, just by setting these, because basically I don't care as long as it goes. I take my profit, I set my new buy stop, my new sell stop, and let whichever one trips first, and that's the way I go. Okay? So now I'm going to go into that. Yes, that's for a wander. You can also, you guys can auto trail your trades in MT4. Yes, that's true. Mike, you should also be able to set your buys and sells the same way. You should be able to trail into a buy and into a sell at the same time, and whichever one trips, it should let you in, and the other one let you out, I believe. I think you have to look at your exchange's configuration, but it's really, really nice. It basically takes the guesswork out of basically which way the trend is going. And as long as you're not in anything yet, set them either side and just let it go. All right. Now let's go look at some forecasting. We're about at the halfway point, so let's go look at XAU USD. Looking at gold. Gold has had a nice run. On the 5-minute chart, it's still sitting at the bottom of the range. It says it can make it all the way to 2089. So because of this fall that it had on the 6th from that 2070, it basically allowed the bands to get wider because of how fast it fell. And I know some people got to monopolize on that. I think Mike got 400 or so pips on it. And basically, because of where we're sitting now, it's widened up. We may be able to get some more. I do think it's going to have to cool off a little bit because scalp is sitting up there and outside there. So it should have to cool off a little bit, but I think gold is still going to be making a run for it. In my previous forecast, I told you guys that I was expecting a pullback in August. Well, we're in August. We're about 10 days in August. The S&P 500 is starting to get weaker, and that S&P 500 getting weaker is a good thing, at least for everyone that's playing against the dollar, because everyone that's playing against the dollar should get stronger, which means gold, which is versus the dollar, should get a little bit stronger as it goes up. But if the dollar recovered at DXY, if the dollar is recovering, then we're expecting everything versus the dollar to actually have a slight pullback, right? So the dollar had a nice run because in the previous week, we were watching it and basically seeing that it had made it to the edge of our range at the beginning of the week. and we were expecting it to pull up, and it sure did pull up. So now we're basically seeing this large move made more room for more up. We'll see if it can do it. Once again, it's sitting at the bottom of a range, and it's saying that it should be able to pull more. So we'll see if that follows through or if that changes its mind and does not happen. At the 1 minute time frame, we are looking at a bottom of this particular range. And even using the range on this guy, we can literally play with this and find out where the range is on, for example, the apocalypse band on the 1 minute, even on the 1 minute, to see if we're near a bottom. And it looks like we are. We're sitting outside, so we're expecting DXY to actually at open bounce here, at least for the first hour of the market being open. All right. Let's look at AUD USD. Let's see where he's going. AUD USD on this is using same settings, right? So we're still set at the 1 minute arbitrage, and we are set to scalp on the 1 minute. So right now he's saying that they're still down, and even the arbitrage band says that yes, he can get down as low as 71.51. That's about 60 or so pips. That would be great if it does happen. If it can't happen, we'll see what's going on. Let's go to bigger time frame. I really hate using the minute chart to make my decisions. So on the arbitrage band, so set back to my scalp settings on the 5 minute chart. I'm looking at this guy. If he can hold this line at 71.572, which is currently where he's sitting at. If he can hold at 71.566, we may get more up. But right now, Z is saying, nope, we're in a weak downtrend. If he actually opens with a down candle, that might seal his fate, and he may actually fall, which that would be nice. So let's keep going up the time frame. I'm watching this guy closely because there is a lot in this guy that basically I think for about 3 weeks, all we did was watch this guy go up no matter what we did. So yeah, this whole ride up, everyone's on the bandwagon for him to have some pullback because yeah, that was quite the ride up, right? If you were able to catch that ride up, that's at least 164 pips. And that's using the 15-minute chart over the 3rd all the way until the 7th or so of the month. And then from the 7th on, he's been falling, and he's given back roughly 95 of those so far. So let's hope he continues his downward trek. On the hourly chart, since I switched to the hourly, I'm going to change my range. And I'm going to change my range to the 5 minute because I normally pair my hourly with my 5 minute apocalypse band. And by no means do you have to do it this way, but this is just the way that I do it. These are the ones that work best for me, right? So I'm expecting AUD USD to make it to roughly 71.21.7, which is about 30 or so more pips down before he decides that he may not want to give us any more, at least in the immediate future. So basically, I'm not betting the farm. I'm just making sure that basically setting the expectation. I'm expecting about 30 more pips out of this guy from the hourly chart in the near future, meaning over the next 8 to 16 hours. Okay? And we'll just go from there. We'll leave it at that. For people using the 4-hour chart, at the 4-hour chart, that's when I actually switch. And you don't have to. You can leave it at the 15-minute or go to the 5. You can do it whichever one you think you feel more comfortable with. At the 4-hour, typically I'm doing it longer just to basically show me everything that's possible. With the 4-hour and the range being bigger, it's closer to the daily time frame, and the 15-minute chart usually works well for this range for me. So if I was looking at that, that's as low as 0.77649. But know that this is close. This could be as much as the entire week for it to make it there if he continues to go down at this rate. We are just about to break under the compass band center, on my scalp settings on the 4-hour. So basically him breaking under would seal the deal and say that we are going to get some more down. But he could just as well hold. We'll see what's going to happen with these two lines, because Z currently is sitting right on the edge, and he is currently just barely positive, but he is positive. So basically most of the bands are pointing up, but there is one that's pointing down, and he's already on the edge of his probability. All right. Let's go look at USD MXN. Basically, I'm touching all the ones that touch the US dollar just to see where we are, because if the dollar is going up, all these other guys should be going down unless he's up front. If the US dollar rallies, then USD MXN should also rally, which means currently he's pointing down, but if he rallies, then we should see this guy point up, but we'll wait to see if that comes true. So basically, if you're not in this guy for and up, wait it out. If both of these guys on the 4-hour cross into that red, that light red or light orange territory, basically go for the sell. As long as we stay underneath that aqua line as well, once again, go for the sell. Try your best to have no opinion, but know where they are in the range, so that way you can monopolize on them, right? So basically, it may take all of today, maybe tomorrow, before an actual uptrend for USD MXN happens, if it decides to rally. Okay, let's look at NZD USD. NZD USD, that was a beautiful fall. On the 4-hour chart, using that 15-minute range, we are close, Mike. We are very close. 65.738 is where it says the edge of the range is. You could have one more push. The good thing about this, though, if he were to do this, basically it would push him. So basically, him pushing to the range might allow him to ride the range, because that would put both the scalp and the long-term trend in a sell. So basically, just watch it. Set your sell stop below. If you're in, take your profit when it gets to the range. Set another one just below it. So if it keeps going, you're there to pick it up. Okay. I'm gonna go up a time frame and then back a time frame and then see where we are. So on the weekly, so this is the daily. Sorry. On the daily time frame, we're watching this guy. The blue line, the navy blue line, is trying to cross under the aqua line, but not yet. Where everyone's basically holding their breath. He's still just barely positive. I think an actual push to the downside, just a little, will tip him over and make him go into a full-blown sell on the daily time frame as well, Mike. Looking at the 15, they're already there. They're already there, and let's see. Basically, I know most of the time people like to see them fall fast, but honestly, if it just drifts where it currently is, that might be the best thing for NZD USD to allow it to basically get more down. It'll cause the range to shrink a little bit, and then it should be able to have a nice quick fall, which we usually like when it drifts, because typically when it drifts, it's going nowhere, and then all of a sudden you get the nice larger candle saying, yep, we're still going down, to basically make it all come to fruition, right? Let's see on the 1 minute. On the 1 minute, there is going to be some fluctuation right at open. That basically is what it's saying, because Z is sitting for both of these right on the edge. So basically with them sitting there, we're expecting it to have a little bit of a bounce at open, but nothing basically to write home about, in our opinion. High, basically, if I were going to be stacking, if I was already in here, let me see where I would set my stop loss. This is where I would turn on. Actually, I can mess with my range to make that happen for me. So with range, I'm currently set at the 15-minute. I'm set to the apocalypse band. If I'm trying to do this to be more conservative, I can set it to the edge of the arbitrage band. So basically, if I'm playing with this guy, It's thinking about the change or oh it did. Okay. Um looking at this guy. No, it was best to use the arbitrage man. All right. So change this guy back to arbitrage. And yeah, basically where that RSI line, if it crosses back over that RSI line on the 15 mic, that's where I probably have my stop loss to make sure that I don't eat any damage and I'm going the right way. Okay. But once again, the only thing that matters when it gets to that black line is where these two lines are. If these two lines are still in the red, don't trust that this guy is crossing. Right? Okay. All right, let's look at EUR USD. Yep, Z is amazing. Okay, so we're looking at same deal. Look at this guy. It looks like he wants to cross on the 15-minute, and everything looks like, hey, let's do this. Let's get into the vibe. But notice where Z is, guys. On the 15, he's still saying, nope, I'm still heading down. You can do what you want. You can be right there. We touched. I fulfilled my end of the deal, my end of the contract. I got you back to the line, so he won't go out of bounds, but I can fall from here. So basically, we're expecting EUR USD to actually fall from here and not be able to give us an uptrend right here because of where these lines are, and then according to Z on the 15-minute chart. Yep, Z is amazing. Okay, so yeah, so EUR USD said more down is coming. Let's climb the charts and see. So basically, if you were riding this, I was actually riding this on the hourly chart. I entered somewhere around here. Let's see, what is this? Yeah, that's the 6. That's the 6. Okay, yeah. So somewhere around here. So I didn't get the best entry on the edge of the range, but I got the basically entry where he was right here on the chart and was able to ride this guy. I think it was like 60 something. No, that means I got even later than that. But basically, if you've been riding, you're still good. Yeah, that's about what I caught. So basically, I remember taking about 60 something off the table. So yeah, so I got the second leg down on this guy. Okay. But so he's down. We're not expecting up anytime soon. Everything still says there. The edge of the range says 117.3. So that means we still have 50 something pips left in this trade as long as he can't penetrate that red compass line. I'm sorry, that blue compass line. So steady as she goes. On the daily time frame, it's the 2 hour, sorry. He's still going down. We had one yellow candle, but notice these guys are still in red territory. So nothing is saying we're supposed to be going up. On the 4 hour, he hasn't quite tripped a sell yet, but he's thinking about it. We do see that this guy is still sitting slightly green. So longer time frame typically wins. And in this case, we might get a little bit of price action to do this and then this. And basically, the quick down, then quick back up allows the range to expand. And if the range is expanding, then we have the ability to basically go further up or further down. But since we're up and we're testing against that RSI, I'm expecting further down. There are 2 points of contention right here, the black line and the navy blue line basically pushing us out. If we had trend lines turned on, we probably would see that, yep, there's a trend line sitting up there saying that, hey, that is the price to beat. So 118,704 is the top if we were going to try to retest to have a triple top, but otherwise we should see more down. And we're just waiting. Basically, all the bands are getting very weak, and we just need to see them slowly drift, not move quickly, just drift on down to let us ease into this nice downtrend and let it happen. On the daily, we've literally been sitting up here for almost forever. And since we're here now, I'm going back to my apocalypse range to say, okay, will we make it? Will we make it underneath? Probably we will not make it underneath, but we should be able to make it to about 115, 595 somewhere within the next week or so, which that's 200 plus pips if you're willing and waiting and able to catch it. So yeah, we are watching it on the daily. If you're using the scalp settings, you have already gotten the green light to start trading this guy down. If you're being more conservative and waiting for Z, basically you're in a holding pattern. You're not getting yellow candles. So until you get yellow candles, don't try to play this guy up. Okay? And basically how we play the system, how I want you to play the system is basically when you're getting into a trade, make sure that if it's green, you got your yellow candles, your Z is where it's supposed to be. Everything is saying you're supposed to be in the trade, you're in the trade. If anything, first sign that something says that you're not supposed to be in there, take your profit, change direction, have no opinion, and then be able to trade the other direction. You made what you made. And hopefully, if you were able to ride this was since July 6th, so this is over a month, and you would have been able to get over 600, maybe 700 pips out of this guy just waiting. Trend lines usually pop up after it sees a second point. So basically, we haven't had a second bottom to show up to give us a second point to form another trend line underneath this guy. Until that line shows up, Lorraine, the blue line is our trend line. The navy blue line, which is the line for our compass, is our trend line to let us know if the candles are under that navy blue line, it's broken support. Right? And typically after it breaks under, you'll see that the trend line comes there to show us that it did break support. Okay? Let me get rid of these guys. All right. Okay, no problem at all. All right, so let's see. We did N, we did E. Let's go to some GBP pairs. GBP, JPY. I guess this guy feels abandoned by me. This used to be my favorite pair to trade, and then I found EA, and well, we haven't been talking much. In this guy, so far, he's in a weak uptrend, but he's still in an uptrend. Nothing is saying he's going down as of yet. This candle is yellow, even though it was a red candle on Friday. So you see it outlined in red, but it's still basically saying that we still have a positive slope for our compass line, which means we're still have enough up momentum to say that we're still going up, even though this guy was a bad day. The telltale on this guy, if I'm using the daily chart and only the daily chart, is if we start off red again today, like in about 15, 20 minutes. If we start off red and continue red, then we expect more down. Otherwise, we're not expecting more down. We are expecting more up because everything is still pointing to up. I'm going to go down to the 15-minute chart. For those people who like that retest, looks like it's doing that. It's testing both our trend line right here as well as our RSI line. Basically, if it maintains it and is able to hold it, looks like we are going to get a little bit of a bounce. The only thing that has me concerned is that Z has made it into a nice, safe sell trend. So basically, I'm thinking he probably will not hold this, at least for the first couple of hours of the trading session. All right? So I'm going down to the 1 minute. On the 1 minute, I'm waiting for all my stuff to draw. Where are they? Wow. This guy has a huge range. So let me bring this guy back down to reality. 1 minute. And yeah, we have a floor around 137.81. So basically he's going to try to test that. He's fully in position to test that so far. So nothing is saying that we're going up just yet. Going up to the 5 minute. We see that he has broken support underneath, and that last push pushed us underneath and also pushed us into a confirmed downtrend, at least for the people who are scalping for this guy. So expect a little bit of up the first 20 or 30 minutes, but now that we're underneath that line, I'm expecting he will continue to fall because of where the forecast of this Z is currently sitting. All right. Let's see. That's GBP AUD. GBP AUD, 5-minute chart. If you're playing this guy, I was playing this guy up most of the day. Make sure we're back in my scalp settings. Yep, I am back in my scalp settings. With me being here, basically took profit, and I'm basically waiting to see if he will hold this or go back under. I'm seeing that he's trying to poke out of here, and he may not bounce. He may actually go confirm, and we may get a little bit of down on GBP AUD. So I'm watching this guy really, really closely because I am wanting up on this guy. I have a core position in that isn't up right now. And basically, he's still sitting down here, but I don't want to give back anything. Notice on the 15-minute chart, we have a dollar sign showing up on the 15-minute, meaning basically this down that happened will have a bounce. So we should have a bounce soon, or an apex of the sell trend soon, to basically have us retrace a little bit more up. So like I said, I just have a core position in this. I got rid of the stack when it got to the edge of my range on my 5-minute chart. Let's see. I thought I saw a chat. I did see a chat. Will you please admit sharing your settings? Would you mind sharing your settings again? Yeah, no problem, man. Now I'll definitely share my settings again. All right. So on GBP AUD, I'm still looking at this guy, and basically my core position is somewhere around here. And I took some profit when I was actually on the scalp setting. So basically, I took profit when it got here, but my core position is still in. And I'm trying to see if he will hold. And if he gets back above the black line, I go back into my stack, and basically we continue riding up. All right. And because of the 15-minute dollar sign that I'm seeing here, I am expecting this guy to bounce and continue up. But I need to see him pull up, which should pull him out of this weak downtrend back into an uptrend. All right. Going to my hourly, we're still up. It's still a week up, but it's still up. Nothing is saying we're in a downtrend as of yet. 2-hour chart, still in an uptrend. Hold on, 2-hour chart, we saw a dollar sign there, which means we had an apex. That means that we got our pullback that we were expecting. And hopefully he either continues on, because basically, typically, this is where I would set my buy stop to basically, now that this guy is formed, I'd set my buy stop above this guy to say, okay, if you continue, pick me back up. Otherwise, I'm not basically playing against the trend. I'm waiting for it to change direction, but I do have my buy stop sitting up here, waiting now that this candle, the second dollar sign, has formed completely, right? 4-hour chart, he is trying to test this line. This is a major point of contention, guys. That 182.607 is a major. So that's about 40 or so pips from where we are currently. If he gets there, expect to see some turbulence. Notice we are in a weak uptrend, though. So it's very well that basically this may be the bottom, and basically we are expecting to see up, but we want to see if he'll be able to break through here. And my guess is he's going to get to here, get to there, and then basically bounce back. I'm hoping not, but hey, we will see. Core position is still good. On the daily time frame, we still haven't had a retest of the RSI line at 180. So basically, if we do have a retest, if you're not in, or if you don't have a core position in, you can get one when it gets near that 180 mark to be able to ride back up. Notice where our range is set. Basically that bounce right off that RSI line should be the bottom of the range if it makes it there, to give us a perfect bounce. And then for one that usually rides off that pullback and retest, you'll be able to ride that guy up to higher points. I would love to see him get to 184 this week, but I'm not going to bet any money on it just yet. Like I said, I still have my core position, and everything for the longer haul does seem like it's going to be an uptrend, but I do want to see this guy follow through and stay in the up position. All right, we got about 5 minutes, so I'm going to try to wrap this up as quickly as possible. Top of the range on this guy is once again at about that 184 point. The band, he's been falling for quite some time, and it's the first time that he's trying to see some light of day, so we're hoping that he actually sees light of day. For the next 2 or 3 months, because this is a weekly chart, I'm going to change my range to basically be bigger. And with a bigger range, I'm expecting, the whole reason I added the hourly was so I can see the weekly stuff. All right. So even with the weekly, he's not expecting much past 184.6. So basically be aware that there's a really hard ceiling up above us. So 184, that's still about 200 or so pips. If you're able to collect them, and be gone when it's time to go, guys. Let's see. I'm going to do one more pair. Actually, I'm going to mess with this guy in a bit. Also versus the US dollar. So oil, for the first time in months, has made it back above the RSI line on the weekly time frame. The question is now, will it hold? Based on what the range is saying, I'm going to say no. I'm expecting oil to turn around and break back under because we're sitting at the top of the range here. So that's what I'm expecting. Let's see if that happens. Also, if you notice the daily, so we had this nice long ride up from where it basically zeroed out and came back to life. So we're expecting this guy. We're watching this guy and expecting this guy. Everybody's still pointing down. So basically, if he breaks back under, get in for a good ride. Basically, oil can get back down to about $32 a barrel. So just be mindful of that if you have stopped watching oil for a bit, or if you haven't been riding it up this entire time. All right. Anybody have any questions? We've got about 10 minutes left, and we got about 3 minutes until the market actually opens. You can unmute and ask questions if you would like.
Hey, Royce, real quick. Your the colors on the side, how do you get them over there?
I'm sorry?
The colors on the side, how do you get them over there?
The colors on the 5?
On the side.
Oh, these colors? Right click, do label, indicator of the last value label. And so basically all of the things I have in there, it'll show you the prices that are attached to them.
All right, appreciate it.
No problem at all. All right, I'm going to go back, and Alan asked for me to show him my setup for my scalp now that I have ranges involved. So I'm going to go back and set my arbitrage band indicator back to compass, and I have that on and that on. So I have show compass, and I have show band, and I have show RSI on. Right? And that's just the band. And then inside of Atlas, typically I don't use trend lines, but some people do. I'm not going to mess with your trend lines if you are using them. But I'm just showing you my settings, right? And I set my range as show range, and I have him set to my 1 minute apocalypse band. By default, if you turn on Atlas, it's set to the 1 minute apocalypse band when you show range. You have to change it if you want it different, but we allow you to do that. So these are my settings, and I have basically it's set to the apocalypse band on the 1 minute chart. I'm sitting on the 5 minute chart. My Atlas is set to scalp for the band that I'm using, and I have all of my alerts set to Z, the dollar sign, and I'm still using that 1 minute where the arbitrage band turns red or green to let me know when my scalp opportunities are coming or going. Like that. So basically, I guess on the 5-minute, when as soon as it opened, it popped and then popped back down. Okay. What is the other man you have in Z? So in Z, I have scalp turned on and Z. So that way I can see basically what's happening when I'm scalping and what's happening for the bigger time frame. So yeah, he poked out and then poked right back in. And the very first candle, he went all the way up and then came back down. Typically, if it doesn't stay there, we'll get the alert, but I also make it tell me if it sees one of these guys. So that way, if I'm not in, I can add a position to it. Or if I am in, so literally it made a 180. It went up, and then turned right back down and went back down. So yeah, I'm liking this guy. He's heading back down. He's doing what he's supposed to do. So I'm at my 1 minute. I'm set to 5 minutes. My Atlas is set to my 1 minute apocalypse band. I'm set to scalp. And I just have show candles, show range, and show window so I can see my dollar sign. If I'm more concerned about the bigger trend, I can also do a show Z, which should also show me if I actually hit the edge of my range or if I hit where Z has actually gone out of bounds. So both of which, once again, all of the indicators and all stuff that I'm adding to the indicators is just to make sure we do not miss our exits. Getting in the trade is easy. Getting out with profit is the hard part because that whole fear of missing out makes us stay longer than we should. You don't have to worry about missing out. I'm trying to show you where all the edges are so that way you get to keep all the edges and ride counter the edges when they happen, right? So, all right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Anyone has any questions? Last call. All right, you guys have a great trading week. See you guys soon.